What's going on, everyone? How's everyone doing out there this evening? I hope you're enjoying your weekend. I'm enjoying my weekend. I get to get on and share some of my fantasy sports with you guys. On today's episode, I'm going to talk about two really talented players I think you should buy low and target in a trade. They are, trust me, when I say they are available. But before we get started, y'all know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and follow Waiver Wire Queen for more on sports to include fantasy football and fantasy basketball. And I'm going to keep you current with the sports news because how the hell you going to win your league if you don't even know what's going on in sports? Those don't make sense if you don't know what's going on and think you're going to be able to compete. But if you're having trouble, Waiver Wire Queen is going to get you right. Okay, y'all. So let's just jump right into it. Let's do it. Let's do it out here. Okay. So I'm going to talk about two players who I think you should target, buy low, because you're not going to have to give up what you would have given up and say at the beginning of this past 2020 season. You're not going to have to give that much up. However, you need to target them now, especially in dynasty leagues, because if they perform well, like I think they're going to do this upcoming season, yeah, you're going to have to give up an arm and leg. So it's going to be a lot for these guys. Okay, so let's jump right into it. So this is one of my favorite wide receivers. He is in my top 5. I do not care that he did not have a great season, and that was due to injuries. Michael Thomas, he is in my top five wide receivers in today's NFL and in fantasy. So if you have Michael Thomas, guess what? You had a hard season. I'm sure you were frustrated fantasy-wise, but he's about to come back in 2021. He's about to come back this upcoming season. He's going to ball out. He's going to look more like the 2019 fantasy output. It's going down. So if you have him, great. If you don't have him, holla at the manager who does, because guess what? You may be able to get away with getting him for less than what you would have given up. All right. The Saints, I know they're happy. They're going to make sure he's healthy and get him ready for next season. And someone like me who has him in 2 dynasty leagues, I am very happy to get him back. I've had some offers out there, and those offers have, to me, knowing what I know, are disrespectful, but you know what? Smart offers, and you may be able to pull that off with another owner and get you a guy who is going to be top 3. He's going to finish next season top 3 wide receivers. Got some great competition out there with Adams, but those two can go back and forth for the number 1 spot in regards to the fantasy output. Okay, so let's talk about his stats. So 2020, he only played 7 games. It was an injury hit season. I thought they should have just shut him down and not even have him come back in there and play, then come back out, because once you start having those lower leg injuries with the ankles, and, you start working your way up. Next is the Achilles, then work to the knees. If you don't allow yourself to truly heal, then it's something else is going to happen, and that may be even major. I'm glad it didn't lead into anything else like Achilles or nothing like that. But to only play 7 games after coming off the season he did, I'm sure he felt like, damn, this is definitely not what I expected. And if you drafted him, you probably drafted him in the first round high. You weren't expecting that, but injuries are a part of the game. Nonetheless, he only played 7 games, 40 receptions, 438 yards, no touchdowns, and he averaged 11 yards per reception. His long catch was only for 24, and it was just an injury hit season. So it's not like he just played and wasn't himself. He was hurt, so he wasn't out there on the field. He just wasn't out there on the field. Now, 2019 was a career year for him. Played 16 games, 149 receptions, which was a career high. And he had over 1,700 yards. And he averaged 11.6 yards per reception. And he had 9 touchdowns. And his long was for 49 yards. We all know why the production changed, and that was due to those injuries. Now, fantasy points. So in 2019, he had a hell of a year. He was a wide receiver one. He was the top guy in 2019. He averaged 14 points in standard leagues, and in PPR, if you were in a PPR league and you had Michael Thomas, you were happy. He averaged over 20, 23, 24 points. And in 2020, if you drafted him, like I said, you drafted him high, and in standard leagues, only 4.9, maybe 5 fantasy points, and then PPR only 8. If you have your top wide receiver averaging 8 points in PPR, you're probably not going to have a great season because you drafted him as your number one guy. You probably said, well, I'm not going to draft a running back. I'm drafting Michael Thomas with my pick in the first round. And you did that, and you probably struggled throughout the season if you didn't, build a solid team. But hell, it happens. It happens. Like I said, injuries are part of the game. He's going to get healthy. He's going to come back and have a hell of a season. And so that's why you need to target him in a trade like yesterday. Don't wait till the season starts. Don't wait till he get 5 games in and he's having another career season and you're like, oh, I got to grab Michael Thomas. No, grab Michael Thomas right now. If you were in a dynasty league, you should have tried to grab Michael Thomas during this past season, which if you were an owner like me, I was thinking about it, but then I was like, no, because I know what he can do. So I kind of wanted to hold on to him just to see what he would do for me when he came back, end up out again with injuries. And, I received some offers. None of them were good enough for me to say, okay, I'm gonna get rid of him. So right now he's going to get healthy. He probably already had the surgery on the ankles, and he's just going to have a really good season. I project him to come back, and he's going to compete for wide receiver 1 with Adams. They're going to be competing for that. I'm telling you, hop on a trade and get him right now. I promise you won't regret it. The manager will probably regret trading him. But, if you guys can work out a good deal, which is going to benefit both of you, then everybody be happy. But you won't pay as much. You won't have to give up as much as you would have given up if he would have had that 2019 season. You wouldn't. I mean, you would have had to give it up more. But right now, I still feel like you can trade for him and not have to give up as much, especially not knowing who's going to be the starting quarterback. That's another thing. We don't know who the hell is going to be the starting quarterback. Is Drew Brees going to stay? I think he performed well when Taysom Hill was in there, but I would prefer a quarterback who's going to be throwing me the ball consistently. Taysom Hill will run. No. So right now, make that move because there's a lot of unknowns. But once the season starts, you're going to know, and you're going to know that, hell, you should listen to Waiver Wire Queen and trade it for Michael Thomas back in February, March, or whatever. Do it before the season, before they officially identify who's going to be their starting quarterback, because the value is going to go up alone once they determine who's their starting quarterback. What if the Saints make a move and bring in Russell Wilson? Do you not know how many people are going to be trying to trade for Russell Wilson and Michael Thomas? But at that point in time, the value is going to be high. What if the Saints try to bring in Deshaun Watson? After that trade, it's going to be hard to get Michael Thomas or Watson, but it's going to be hard to get Michael Thomas. And if you do, you know what they're going to be asking for? Managers are going to be asking you for a whole lot. But right now, with so many unknowns and uncertainties, you make that move, and then you thank the waiver wire queen in August and September and say, that waiver wire queen, she know a thing or two. Let's move on. All right. So the next player who I think, and I know several people were talking about, yes, Joe Mixon on the Bengals, running back for the Bengals. Joe Mixon is a player you should target. I think he is going, no, I don't think, I know he is going to have a bounce back season, even better than his 2019 season, because they have started to build a solid culture and add pieces around him, which is going to help him perform better. You moved on from Andy Dalton, which was the best thing they could have ever done. And you drafted a young franchise quarterback. He's going to be coming off an injury, but so what? He's going to be good. You got your young franchise quarterback. And then in this draft, you're going to be smart and you're going to solidify that offensive line with that top pick. And that's going to obviously help Joe Mixon out. That's right. It's going to help him because you're building that offensive line up. So Mixon is going to be able to run the ball. Your quarterback is going to be able to hand the ball off without the damn defense in the backfield before he can hand the ball off to him. Let's hope. But if the Bengals do those things, he's going to have a solid season, and they have to, because you cannot allow Joe to get hit and sacked for 40 plus times. Otherwise, it's going to kind of shorten his career up potentially, or he's just going to have a damn franchise quarterback, young quarterback who may lose confidence because he's getting sacked 40, 50 times. Kind of like Carson Wentz. Sacked 50 times. What do you really expect? Not going to have the most confidence. Watson was sacked over 40 times. That's a lot. And then look what Russell Wilson is saying right now. Hey, I'm getting sacked too much. So if these are your franchise guys, you don't want to get them. You don't want to have them sacked a lot. So with the Bengals taking care of that offensive line, that's going to help Joe Mixon. Let's talk about what he did in 2020. Obviously, he was injured. He only played 6 games. He rushed for over 428 yards, only 119 rushing attempts, but I mean, he was injured. He averaged 3.6 yards per carry, and he had 3 touchdowns. Receiving wise, he had 21 receptions, 138 yards, and 1 touchdown. Now let's talk about 2019, which was probably his best season. He played 16 games. He rushed 278 times. He had over 1,100 rushing yards. He averaged 4.1 rushing yards, and he had 5 touchdowns. And then receiving was solid. I think 2019, it was looking like he was going to be on pace for a much better season receiving wise, which is excellent for PPR. So he had 35 receptions, 281 receiving yards, and he averaged he had 3 touchdowns. Obviously, with his 2019 output in only 6 games, you already knew that it was going to be much better. But nonetheless, the injuries hit. Okay, so fantasy points. So in standard league, 2020, 15 points for the time he played. And in PPR, it was 18. And then in 2019, it was 11 points in standard and 14 in PPR. So you can see that he was on pace during the 2020 season to have an even better season than 2019. Hopefully he comes back healthy and they do the things they need to do with that offensive line, and that's going to help him have a better season than 2019. And it's going to probably be his best season. So if you are in position to trade for Joe Mixon, hop on the trade, hop on that phone, pull up that smartphone, holler at that manager. I don't care if you got to call him, email him, text him, do what you got to do, and trade for Joe Mixon right now. Don't wait until the season starts and he's having a solid season, because his value is going to increase and you are going to have to give up so much more. So right now is the time to bring him in, to trade for him. Why wait? If you wait, it's going to be too late. Waiver wire queen, dropping gems. Nah, please prioritize him in the trade. If you need a running back, do it, because I really think he is going to have a great comeback season. His fantasy points, I could see him averaging at least a minimum of 20 fantasy points in PPR leagues, and I believe he'll bring his points up in standard leagues to maybe 16, 17. So in PPR, I can see it easily going up to 20, maybe 21, because they're going to get him more involved in the passing game. As you can see, that's what they were doing in 2020 before he suffered from that injury. So if you are in position to trade for these two players, buy low, because you can right now. Don't wait. Make it happen right now. Michael Thomas, go on and trade for Michael Thomas, and go on and make that trade, make a bold trade for Joe Mixon. These two guys are going to have great bounce back seasons and potentially their best season. Okay. So prioritize them. Another player I'll throw out there, I think is going to have a comeback season because, I mean, hell, he ain't play much. Saquon Barkley, the last 2 seasons has been injuries, which has limited his production. He's going to come back this season, and he's going to be healthy. The offensive line has improved. Look for Saquon. So if you can even snatch Saquon in the trade, it's probably going to cost you more than what you'll have to give up for Mixon. But Saquon Barkley too, because I think he'll be good this season. But the 2 players I think you should prioritize the most in a trade, Michael Thomas and Joe Mixon. All right, guys. So let me know what y'all think. Do y'all feel that these are the guys that you should trade for? Because I do. Let me know who you think is a buy low target in a trade and what you are willing to give up for these guys in a trade. What are you willing to give up for Michael Thomas in a trade? Do you think if you're in a dynasty league and you gave up a first round pick and maybe a player for Michael Thomas, would that first round pick, would that player be better than Michael Thomas right now? Or do you see that player with long-term better value than Michael Thomas? Y'all let me know what you think. All right, y'all. Y'all know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and follow Waiver Wire for more on sports. And make sure your notifications are turned on so you are staying current when these videos drop, because we got to make sure we're ready for fantasy basketball and fantasy football. And we're just current with sports. And also, follow me on Facebook and IG at Waiver Wire Queen and Dream Elite Strive for Excellence. And that is excellence with an X, like the BX. Y'all know what it is. BX, boogie down all day, every day. And a special shout out to 9 millimeter, 9mm. Check his YouTube channel out and go and pick up that album, Locked and Loaded. Let me get up so you can see the whole thing. Go pick up that album, Locked and Loaded. It's available on all music platforms. And just listen to him. He got some talent with him. He's got a nice, solid album. The album's really dope. Again, check him out on Facebook and IG at The Real 9mm and also on YouTube, 9mm. All right, y'all. Y'all have a great evening. Peace.